Hi, like I said, my name is Sarah Kane, and this is the Electric Avenue supporting electric vehicles in Sarasota County. I have Cassidy House here as well with me. She's our summer sustainability and natural resources intern, and she's going to be helping us with the Q&A throughout the presentation. So if you have questions, what you can do is just type them in the chat box, and Cassidy's going to be monitoring those. What we'll do is we will I will take questions in the middle of the presentation and at the end of the presentation. So if you have a question in the middle of the presentation, you can go ahead and type it in, and then we will take a little break in the middle of the presentation and answer those questions. Thank you all for being here. My name is Sarah Kane, and I'm the Sustainability Program Supervisor for Sarasota County at the UF IFAS Extension and Sustainability Office. First of all, I just wanted to welcome you all to this class. This is the first time we're doing this as a virtual webinar. And so I would actually just like to start with a couple questions in the chat box, if you all don't mind. Does anyone have an electric vehicle currently? And I'll ask Cassidy to kind of read them back since I can't see it.
So far one person said no.
Okay.
I know I personally don't have an electric vehicle, so it's no for me too. Got another no.
All right. Okay, good. So I'm gonna give a lot of basics in this class, and sometimes we have people that join that already have an electric vehicle and just kind of want to hear about what we have to say. So that's good too. So just a little introduction for a little bit more introduction for me. Like I said, I work in sustainability here at the county, and I've been here in Sarasota County for 15 years, working in various environmental roles throughout the county. I worked at Mote Marine Laboratory and Sarasota Bay Estuary Program. So I have a real passion for our natural environment here in Sarasota. And we do many different classes that I'll talk a little bit more about in a second. We'll go through the presentation, and like I said, just type in the chat box if you have questions. We'll answer them in the middle and at the end. We will probably go about 45 minutes. It might take a little bit less or a little bit longer, but feel free to join us or check off if you need to. Well, first on the agenda, we're going to talk about Sarasota County sustainability, because I'm just going to give you a kind of a brief overview of what we do here in the office in case you're not familiar. And then sometimes I have, for this class that's normally in person, I'll have Chris Sherrick join me, and he gives a little story about his driving an electric vehicle experience. And he's not joining us tonight, but I do have a link to share with you that has some slides that you can view later, and a couple of key takeaways from what he usually presents. And also, I'm going to be doing this class again virtually, so we might invite him back to speak on this webinar or next class, or we're welcome to anyone else that drives an electric vehicle and you want to share your story. And you can also maybe share at the end if we have time too. And then I'm going to talk about EV buying considerations and our commitments and efforts for electric vehicles for both the vehicles and infrastructure and education and outreach, and then other transportation opportunities. And then at the end, we'll have a chance to do Q&A. So just to take a minute to talk about what extension is. So a lot of people have never taken our classes before, and we're a partnership between the county and the University of Florida and the USDA. We use university research and resources to address local needs throughout the community, and that includes classes and outreach and volunteer opportunities. We try to provide practical education to help residents, professionals, and decision makers to make a better community. And we really try to do a lot of classes, education and outreach, and reach the needs of our communities, which has changed a lot over time. So Sarasota has grown a lot over the years, and we have changed our programs. I would say over the last 5 years, our programs have increased and very environmentally focused. We have 6 different core areas that we focus on: agriculture, community development, gardening and landscaping, natural resources, nutrition and healthy living, and youth development. With most of you have probably heard of 4-H. That's the big one that most people have heard of. But we also have an agriculture agent. We have 2 sustainability positions. We have a community and school gardens coordinator, a commercial horticulture agent, and a residential horticulture agent. And all of those items in our natural resources, most of those are newer positions. We have chemicals in the environment, marine and coastal sea grant, waste reduction, water resources. The family nutrition program helps low-income families with nutrition education. And of course, you probably heard of the 4-H program. So if you ever have any questions about any of those, please reach out to us. And we have a series of free courses that are all on our website. So also, just to define sustainability, I don't know if you've heard of it before, you might have, but this is how we define sustainability: as satisfying our present needs without compromising the ability for future generations to meet their needs. It's really a balancing act in between the economy, the society, and the environment, or people, planet, prosperity is a good one. That intersection between our economy, our environment, and the people that live in our society, is that intersection in between is a sustainable community. And that's what we thrive to do here. We actually started our sustainability office in 2002. So we've been around for quite a long time and have lots of different programs. I'm just going to go over them briefly because I know you're here to talk about electric vehicles tonight, but I just thought it would be good to do a tiny little bit of overview of what we do besides teach about electric vehicles. So we also do resiliency planning for sea level rise. We have an internal vulnerability assessment that we're doing right now and a report. We have sea level rise in our comprehensive plan and our post-disaster redevelopment plan. And we also are involved locally in different groups working on this item. We have energy conservation teams in the county. These are all internal, but we get together with all the different departments and we meet to talk about our energy usage in our buildings and how we can reduce that. Same with our fuel use with our fleet and our public transportation staff. And then we also have a Green Champions program. It's an education program for our employees here, and we have over 2,000 employees at Sarasota County. So we try to educate everyone on how to be more sustainable at work. We also have electric vehicles in our fleet, which I'm going to touch on a little bit more later, and the EV Charge Up Rebate Program, which I'm also going to talk about. We really focus a lot on energy efficiency in the home, in commercial and residential. We have an energy upgrade program where we give away energy kits, and we have a class on that as well. We also try to focus on energy equity. We have a volunteer program that reaches low-income community members to make their housing units more efficient, both on water and energy, and save them on their utility bills. We have an annual Sustainable Communities Workshop. It's coming up on October 29th. It is going to be virtual this year, but we will have registration information open soon. We also teach all of these different classes. So not only electric vehicles, but also green living, solar technologies, green building, age-friendly universal design, and property assessed clean energy, which is a financing program for energy efficiency and solar, and Drawdown, which is based on a book about climate change. And we also try to stay in touch with sustainable economic development and green jobs. We have a green business partnership. We have kits that you can check out at the library, a family green living kit that's not quite ready yet, but will be soon. And a do-it-yourself energy and water audit kit that you can currently check out at the libraries. And we also like to focus on waste reduction. We have a strategic plan for plastic reduction, and we encourage composting. We have classes for composting here at our office, and we're working on a sustainable events guide. So this is Chris Sherrick. He is an EV advocate, a driver of a Tesla, a former driver of a Chevy Volt, which he gave to his son. He did this book. He's an author, and he's an engineer. So in this presentation, you can click on, we'll send out the slides after. After this, we have all your emails on Eventbrite if you registered, and we will send out this presentation. But he has a lot of good graphs because he's an engineer. He likes data, and some really good graphs on there about how much money he saved going from a regular car, a gasoline car, to an electric vehicle. So it's very interesting. So you can check that out later. Some of the key takeaways that I captured from his presentation was this one. So how do you like driving an electric car? Because it's important to hear from electric vehicle owners, because they're very excited about their cars and they love driving them. That he says that it's fun to drive. You don't have to worry about gas, so you're saving money there. You're also saving on maintenance costs because there's not as many maintenance costs for electric vehicles. Your reduction of foreign oil, reduction of tailpipe emissions. They're quiet. They're really quiet. And they're really fun to drive. I would add that one in here. And it's cutting edge technology, stability of fuel sources, real-time driving feedback, and leaving the earth better than you found it. I also like this slide of his because if we combine electric vehicles with solar, there's zero emissions. So that's the ultimate goal. If you have solar, you can drive on sunshine. So why go electric? Why are we here today? Why are we talking about this? It's great for sustainability planning, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, reducing your maintenance costs, it's saving money in the long run, or you reduce your fuel costs, reduce the life cycle emissions, and we all want to lead by example. So there are many different types of EVs. There is the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, which is electric only, and the range is from 10 to 40 miles. And then after that, it has a gasoline engine. So this is good for a lot of people that want that gas backup. If you do long road trips, or if you just prefer to have be able to fill up with gasoline if you need to, there's lots of options for that. So one example of that type of vehicle would be a Chevy Volt, and also a Ford C-Max, are just two examples I can think of right now, but there are many other hybrids out there. The extended range electric vehicle is an all-electric to about 40 miles, and then it has a gasoline generator that powers the electric motor for 300 plus miles. Then you have your battery electric vehicle. That's all electric vehicle, and that's a Chevy Bolt, the Tesla, many others too. And of course, we can't forget about our electric vehicle golf carts, our neighborhood electric vehicles that some of you might have, and electric bikes are important too. One thing to know, and we'll touch on this again in a minute, but most people drive less than 40 miles per day. And if you're just driving around town, driving from work and back, you can get an electric vehicle that'll meet your needs within that 40-mile range, whether you get the plug-in hybrid or the full electric vehicle. Most people are driving that range every day. And so all of the manufacturers now have electric vehicles. There's many different types. And we can talk more about that if you have questions, but it's great to know that no matter what kind of car that you want, there's probably an electric vehicle option. And this is just another really great graphic that talks about the different types of electric vehicles. The sources of energy, you can see you go from your conventional that has gas to your hybrid that has gas but uses less of it. And then your plug-in hybrid where you plug in it to charge your battery and has a gas backup. And then your all electric that's fully plug-in only, all electric. And you can see the consumption of gasoline and the amount of battery and the emissions, which I really like. And then there's some examples of different vehicles you can get for each type. And charging. So you might be wondering, well, can I charge at home? Yes, you can charge at home. And most of them are going to be a level 1 charging. And but most of you will have that capability if you're connected to the electric grid at all, which most businesses and homes will be capable of doing that. So you have your level 1 that takes a little bit longer to charge, but if you're charging at home, for example, then you can leave it plugged in overnight. And when you get home from work, you can plug it in, leave it plugged in and charge all night. And then when you get up in the morning, it'll be ready to go. So we are going to talk about timing a little bit more, but it also depends on the type of vehicle and how much you have charged already in it. And that's how long it's going to take. But then we have our level 2, which is a little bit faster. And then we have the fast DC charger that is very fast and can charge your car within 30 minutes, depending again on how full your battery is and what kind of vehicle you have. And a good example of that would be the Tesla superchargers that they have everywhere now. Here's an example of the different charging. So level 1 can just be a regular, you might see this on your washer and dryer, this type of outlet that you can hook up to charge your vehicle at home if you wish. You can also spend about $500 and upgrade it. And then you have your level 2, which you've probably seen these all around town. That's an example of a charge point charging. And then level 3 fast charger, and that's going to be a lot quicker charge. So you might be wondering how long it takes to charge your battery. Well, it's going to depend on the amperage and the charging system and the size of the battery. Most of the time your battery won't be empty when you plug it in, so it reduces the charging time. And to recharge a completely empty car battery from an ordinary 120 volt socket for the Chevy Volt, which is the plug-in hybrid, you would need about 10 hours. This is just one example to give you an idea. The Nissan Leaf would need about 20 hours. That's at the lowest level 1. The 240 outlet, which is a little level 2, a little bit faster. The Volt in about 4 hours, and the Leaf in 8 hours. And that is, again, if it's nothing left in the battery. And some states are beginning to install the fast chargers, the level 3s, along the highways that can recharge a car to 80% of the battery in less than 30 minutes. So where do you charge? Most people are going to charge at home, like I mentioned. And then also 10% public stations throughout the county and city. We have a lot of them. And then at work. And it's been shown that if you have an electric vehicle charging station at work, you're more likely to buy an electric vehicle. And here's a good graphic of single family homes, multifamily homes, workplaces, and fleets, and what type of charging infrastructure they have. But like I said before, most people drive less than 40 miles a day. which makes the overnight charging really easy to do on the level 1. So EV buying considerations, battery electric vehicles, not the hybrids or plug-ins, the all-electric vehicles are currently available and coming soon. How much they cost and how far they can go on a charge is what this graph is saying. So you might want to check that out. I've put links to all of these in the PowerPoint presentation. And so when we send it out, you're welcome just to click right on the PDF document that we're going to give you, and you can check these out. So this is just one scenario that we thought was really interesting for a lease option. So if you have a 3-year lease, a 30-mile daily commute, and your average about 35 miles per day on the weekends, you live in a state that doesn't have any incentives, and we're looking at national average electricity price. That can vary, of course. It gives you scenarios for different electric vehicles, and actually you can drive the Leaf, and you're saving money with the lease option. You could potentially drive around for free if you look at it in that scenario, because you're not spending any money on gas. So that might be a good option for a lot of people. And I'm also going to give you a series of different websites you can go to check out what kinds of electric vehicles you might want to get. This one is great. It has a cost calculator. So it looks at your driving habits to calculate a total cost of ownership and emissions for makes and models of most vehicles. So it's like a calculator, and this is from the US Department of Energy. And you can calculate that. This is also a good one from the Sierra Club. It's kind of a quiz based on what you do or what you need. So how many miles do you drive a day? Do you do long road trips? Do you have access to an electrical outlet in your garage? How many seats do you need? So like how big a vehicle do you need? What's your maximum budget? And you plug all of these things in, and then it will give you a list of vehicles that you could potentially buy that meet your needs, which I really like. It's great. This one is from FPL. It actually calculates your gas vehicle. If you currently have a gas vehicle, you can plug in that, and it will tell you how many miles per gallon you're getting and what's the cost difference between your regular gas vehicle and an electric vehicle. So you can see there, it tells you what the range is for the Leaf, how many miles per kilowatt hour, and then you can compare your gas vehicle to the electric vehicle to see how much you can save. So if you buy a new electric vehicle, you can get a tax credit up to $7,500. The credit amount will vary based on the capacity of the battery. Begins to phase out when cars are over 200,000. And there's more information in these two websites here. So we're at the kind of the half point now. So I can take questions here. I also put in, if you just put in your search box on Google, Sarasota County electric vehicles, we have a lot more information on our website, and I'll show you a screenshot of that later. But I'll have Cassidy go through the Q&A, and we can start answering some questions just for a few minutes. Then we'll continue on and answer all the rest of the questions at the end. So how are we looking in the chat box, Cassidy?
Looking good. We just have one question so far. Near the beginning, when you were talking about the sustainability department, somebody asked, where do you get your funding, and is it secure?
Oh, great. That's a great question. So we are the county, so we get most of our funding that goes into the county comes out of general fund, so taxpayer dollars, but we also get a lot of grants. So when I was talking about those different programs that we do, in particular, the Energy Upgrade Program and the Partners for Green Places program, those two are grant funded, that we apply for grants whenever we can to just do more than we have the budget for. So the more we do, the more grants that we get, the more opportunities we have to expand our programming. And for grant money, that comes and goes, but we continue to try to apply for grants to support what we want to do. I think right now it looks stable for us. We are maybe having to do some budget cuts for some of our programming, but at this time it's minimal. Does that answer your question, whoever answered that or asked that, excuse me? No other comments?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
Oh, okay, thanks. Good. Any other questions so far? Yeah, you can turn off your audio too if you just want to ask instead of doing the chat box. Okay. All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, I'll continue to move on, and then we'll have time at the end. So electric vehicles in Sarasota County, some background. What's the public benefit of electric vehicles? We know there's air pollution reduction, so that, you know, greenhouse gas emissions, tailpipe emissions, all of those things are going to decrease with electric vehicles. And then we'll see health improvements as well, with better air quality. Fuel diversification and price stabilization. As you might know, fuel costs can go up and down. So not having to purchase fuel is a big savings for us in local government. It's also a savings for you as an individual car owner. And then economics. So like I said, saving money. Economic benefit could be $1,300 per vehicle. Depends on the gas prices at the time. And then attract customers, attract visitors, and sector development. So that's kind of our goals around the infrastructure of electric vehicle charging stations, that we want to make sure that we have lots of infrastructure for this technology to attract visitors to our public locations, and expand that as much as we can. So we have been looking at electric vehicles for many years, and we have done some resolutions. So I'll just go over some of our initiatives here. In 2005, we did a resolution to support federal, state, and local policies to advance plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. In 2010, we did a resolution to reduce community energy and use and greenhouse gas emissions. So providing electric vehicles reaches that goal. And in 2011, we did a plug-in ready, possible incentives and charging needs. We looked at, and I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. And approved, in 2011, we approved a contract for 9 electric vehicle charging stations with a grant through U.S. Department of Energy. And we were actually the first local government in Florida with a plug-in electric vehicle in the fleet, vehicles in the fleet. Now, a lot of other local government cities and counties definitely have electric vehicles in their fleet. Community adoption. So we here at Extension, we're very big on getting the community involved, educating the community, building collaborations, really just spreading the word about why it's so important. And so prior to coronavirus, we definitely participated in all the electric vehicle events. So National Plug-in Day events, which usually happen in September and April. Unfortunately, there was not one in April this year. Suncoast Electric Vehicle Collaborative. So we partnered with the Sierra Club, and I'm going to show you some of that data in a minute. The EV owners in our community are active advocates of electric vehicles. So we always try to partner with them and get data from them and just listen to their stories and help spread their stories to the community, because they're always so excited about their electric vehicles. They are super fun to drive. And a part of this initiative, when we do events in the community, is to let people get in vehicles and drive them. Because once you get in the vehicle and drive it, you realize how much you like it, and you can see the features a little bit better hands-on. This data is a couple years old, so it could fluctuate, subject to change every year, but we were the third highest number of electric vehicles relative to the population of any county in Florida. So that's why we think that the infrastructure is so important to have here. So the Suncoast Electric Vehicle Collaborative was an initiative from the Sierra Club back in 2013, and we had a series of multi-stakeholder workshops to address electric vehicle needs and community readiness. So we had 100 community members, and we had several forums where we got everyone's feedback. Some of the recommendations that came out of that was to expand the infrastructure, both public and private locations, reduce the cost, do education and awareness, and then take local government actions. So this is where they propose some of the new charging station locations. In particular at hotels and tourist destinations, we could use more electric vehicle charging stations at that time, or at those locations, excuse me. And also education and outreach was huge. So a simple low-cost education campaign, which we've done, we had goals to increase awareness and adoption of electric vehicles to 3 different audiences: drivers, businesses, and builders and developers. So this class right now is part of the strategy of classes, website, I can take out coming soon because we already have it, and community outreach. We'd like to become an EV destination, and this is just a map that shows how many charging stations we have in the county in different areas. These are the current EV stations in the county and the city and the private. And most EV owners will know, they'll have an app on their phone that shows them where all the charging stations are, so that's very helpful too. There's several different apps out there that you can use. So some of our county-owned charging stations, we have 9 stations, or we put in 9 stations in 2011 that were grant funded. The board approved use of pollution recovery trust fund money. We included in our capital improvement projects for new buildings when relevant. So right now we have 18 county-owned locations, a total of 30 ports. They're all free to use and open to the public. And we have networked and non-networked stations, levels 1, 2, and 3. And what that means is basically a network station is connected to some of the apps I was just mentioning. So you can, go to PlugShare and see where the charging stations are and if someone's using them. Most of them actually we've had to switch over to non-networked over the years because they were getting very expensive for us to fix them once they break down. So a lot of our stations are non-networked, but you can find them on a map, and the only thing you can't see is if somebody's using it or not. We also have an EV rebate program available that I would love to encourage you to help spread the word on this. It's a rebate for charging infrastructure, so charging stations. If you're a business, you can get up to $2,000 off of your, or a rebate of your charging station for your charging station. So that's like hotels, tourist locations, shopping centers, things like that. If you're a nonprofit or a government, you can get up to 50% off the station, or 50% of station costs, $4,000 maximum. And that can go towards the equipment cost and the installation cost, because sometimes you'll have some electric costs there. We still have money available. It is on a first come, first served basis, but we would like to really push this out in the community. So please feel free to share this information. Who is eligible for this rebate? So we have tourist attractions, like I said, beaches, hotels, shopping centers, retail hubs, community centers, government properties, major employers, so big businesses that have 150 full-time employees or more. And we would really like to try to get more of these charging stations in South County. So we reserved 30% of the funds for South County, because that is where we need more stations. We have a lot in the city. So if you know of a location that might need a charging station, just let us know, and we can always reach out to the business or the nonprofit or the government, if it's a city, and reach out to them and send them all the information. Also, all of this information at the application and a fact sheet is on our website, scgov.net. You can just search Sarasota County electric vehicles and you'll find it. We also are very happy to announce here at our office, the UF IFAS Extension and Sustainability Office, we are the first department that got an all-electric Chevy Bolt. So it goes 238 miles on a single charge. It's all electric, no oil changes, no gas, no internal combustion engine keep up. And that's gonna, again, I had these examples in the beginning of the presentation, but I thought it would be good to emphasize why we're doing this. Reduce maintenance cost, improved environment by reducing life cycle emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, tailpipe emissions, reduced cost for fuel. And also we just want to lead by example as a county. So we have this in our department right now, and the fleet department also wants to increase this these Chevy Bolts. So they're planning on doing around 8 more and replacing some of our Ford C-Max hybrids, which are the electric plug-ins that go about 23 miles on all electric, and then they switch over to gas after that. So we're going to be replacing those with all electric. It's very exciting. So if you don't go run out and buy an electric vehicle right now after this class, there are some other things that you can do. There's other ways to reduce your transportation costs and footprints. You can buy the most efficient vehicle that meets your needs. So maybe you get a gas vehicle, but you get one that has really good gas mileage, or you get a hybrid. Drive your current vehicle more efficiently. Explore alternative fuels, drive less. Maybe you can carpool, combine trips, take public transportation, consider where you live and work so that your commute isn't that long, or bike and walking is very good too. I think we were all not driving at all. I know I didn't drive for like 3 months when we were on lockdown. So I definitely saved some gas there. And here are many, many different resources that you can check out after the class when we send you the presentation. So that's our electric vehicle page on our website. Again, if you don't want to write down the whole long URL, you can click on it after you get the presentation, or you can just Google Sarasota County electric vehicles and find all that information. And then I have some of the vehicle comparison websites here, charging stations where you can find where the charging stations are. The Suncoast Electric Vehicle Collaborative that I mentioned, and general information about electric vehicles and why they're important. Here's a screenshot of our website. So as you can see there, we have some information about electric vehicles, and then the charge up rebate program fact sheet, the application, and the rebate request form. So at this time, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We went through this, we got done a little bit early, but we have plenty of time for questions if anyone has any other questions.